Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to another unedited, unorganized, unscripted video about foods you need to bring backpacking that you didn't even know you needed to bring backpacking. This video is actually addressing a couple of questions that I got maybe like a year and a half ago in some of the comments. If you're new to the channel, there are probably 30 to 50 videos on plant-based, cold soak backpacking meals. And one of the most common questions that come up in some of the older, lengthier ones that I kind of go food by food for like a weekend is, what do you use as an alternative to powdered milk in some of the recipes? So I'd like to address that in this video and talk a little bit about raisins. So specifically, I know one of the questions I said I was going to answer for the person, so sorry this is like a year late, is could you use oat milk powder? Not oak, not like oak like the tree, but oat milk powder as a substitute for powdered milk. Now, you'll see a lot of times on, I don't know if there's necessarily a vegan backpacking food channel besides this one, but you'll see it, like say on Reddit and some other boards, people will offer up alternatives such as powdered soy milk, powdered coconut milk. And those are decent alternatives to powdered milk. I personally would not want to have the powdered soy milk. I do have that. If you look back like years on this channel, I do have that as an alternative in some of the meals, but you really do have to mask that with a bunch of other flavors. If you want the extra calories and the protein, it's a great substitute for powdered milk. Again, it's not the best tasting stuff, so it does have to be masked somewhat by a lot of other flavors. Coconut milk. If you go back on to my videos on this channel, you will see me recommending coconut milk. I no longer use powdered coconut milk. What I found is that, especially for longer trips, it definitely leaves a residue behind in my cold soak container. And I am somebody who, I don't want to cook. I also don't want to clean dishes. I don't want to bring soap and something to do the inside of my container with. I want to put some water in, swish it, drink it, be done with it. And so a lot of times, not a lot of times, if you use coconut milk, it tends to kind of have a film on the inside of it, which is fine if you're going out for a weekend. And I've definitely done this before, where like say my Sunday breakfast, I might have some powdered coconut milk in it, and I just bring the container home, and I don't care if it's dirty and it's covered with whatever. But otherwise, that powdered coconut will have that film. And so one of the alternatives to that is oat milk. So the oat milk powder is it's decent tasting. I will not say that it's the best tasting stuff, and that's just plain. I'm talking like if you just mixed it in some water and tried to drink it. It kind of tastes just like unsweetened oat milk, if you've ever had that before. Kind of bland, not creamy, unsweetened oat milk. But if you're looking for something to just not make it taste like you're eating your granola with water, this is a great substitute. Now, one of the big differences is that there's not a lot of nutrition in this. This is basically oat milk that has been, I'm assuming, evaporated. And so there's not a lot of nutrition left behind in it. And 1 tablespoon of this is just 60 calories, and that's basically everything you're getting from it. I'm actually looking on the back of the package now. You know, it's 6 carbohydrates per tablespoon. It's 3 grams of fat, 1 gram of protein. So if you're looking for nutrition, there's a lot of other better alternatives. But if you're just looking for something to put into your granola or your cereal or your oatmeal in the morning, just so again, it doesn't taste like water, then this is a great substitute if you're getting your nutrition from other places. So definitely recommend the oat milk powder. If you're not familiar with the brand Anthony's, pretty much anything you order from Anthony's you can't go wrong with. So if you are, I'll put a link to this in the description, but if you're looking at other brands, again, usually Anthony's you can't go wrong with, even if it's a couple more bucks. Another alternative to the oat milk, and I know people can go either way on this, it's not a whole food, it is a processed food, but putting in some protein powder. And this is something that I do all the time for backpacking trips. I don't have my jug of, I keep forgetting the name of it. On the way down here, I was trying to remember, I think it's called Garden of Life. It is a plant-based protein powder, and you can get it in a variety of flavors. I like the chocolates, but if you just want to kind of like dabble with protein powder, you can go into a store and you can just buy a packet for $1 or $2, and so you don't have to buy a big jug. The big jugs are the way to go, but they're also, you know, can be anywhere from $25 to $50 depending on the size. So if you don't want to commit, just get a couple of packets to try it out for a trip. Now, obviously, it's going to make your whatever water you add it to, it's going to make it taste milky, but also you're getting a whole lot of other nutrition with it. And for all the protein packets like this, I just grabbed a couple that had been given to me. You know, this is greens and protein. This one is just protein, but there's so many varieties of different things out there that you can buy. And so again, that's an alternative. So you can kind of do a very carby sort of breakfast if you want. Throw in your protein milk, protein powder, and that is also a great alternative if you just don't want that watery sort of flavor instead of the evaporated milk. And again, you'll see a lot of people do this. This is not some original idea. So if you haven't tried it before, it's a good one. All right, let's do some other things that kind of go along with this topic. The other thing that, if you don't want to go with a powdered milk sort of substitute, one of the things that I've done kind of like as I was experimenting, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, as I was really experimenting with different powdered milks or different alternatives, is I also tried just desiccated coconut powder. Now, what this is just coconut that's really, really, really finely shredded. And I found that this was a decent alternative. Now, I am not someone who is so picky with my tastes. I can put water in granola and oatmeal and eat it with no issues. I don't have any problems with that. But if you do want that like extra flavor, and it doesn't turn it milky, but it definitely is more, I don't know, it makes it closer to as if you put coconut powder in. This is something I'd recommend. And you can see it's just very, very finely shredded coconuts, and you mix it into your thing and you can get a little flavoring with everything, or a little flavor with every bite. The other thing that I do when I'm eating, and this is specifically breakfasts, although I will do this for some evening meals as well, is if you are using a substitute, if you are someone who just always has evaporated milk or powdered milk, and none of the substitutes really taste like that powdered milk, and I don't know, there's just that taste that's lacking, and you are someone who likes things sweet, you know, you're kind of used to the sweet oatmeal or the sweet morning cereals. What I do, and I just highly recommend this, is throwing in some different types of fruit. But the easiest one is, I think, one of the most underrated backpacking foods, and that is the raisin. And I think everybody has kind of grown up with that classic sort of, you know, sun-made raisin. You can excuse the little white things. I had to take them for my cold soak jar because I forgot to bring down extras. But everyone's familiar with that classic sort of, you know, that just black wrinkly raisin, and eating it just plain. But when you put a raisin into that breakfast and you're cold soaking it, or you're soaking it, or you're cooking it, those raisins will plump up, and they always taste sweeter. So if you're not using powdered milk, you throw in a substitute, you throw in some raisins, you let them pump up and get sweeter, you really forget about ever needing the evaporated milk, and all the substitutes taste just fine. And beyond those black raisins, there's actually a lot of alternatives. So one of the alternatives is the yellow golden raisin. And again, not sure how common these are in like a regular, you know, if you just went to your regular super, whatever your grocery store is. But a lot of times at ethnic markets, so we have a couple of Indian markets that are a couple of towns over, and you can buy them by, you know, I buy them by the 3-pound bag, and they're absolutely delicious, and they're so much better than just the classic black raisin. They're so much sweeter, and they just taste better. And as another alternative, and this one, I don't know if you've seen these before, but if you go to your ethnic market, you can also find green raisins. And the green raisins, if you can notice the difference between the green and the golden raisin, they are so much plumper. I guess that's the word. They get so much plumper, and so with every bite, you're like biting into this big sweet raisin, which really helps you forget that either you're not using powdered milk or you're using oat milk powder. So those are some of the ways to get around using powdered milk and some alternatives. One, use some plant-based alternative, but two, to also just mask it with some other fruit that becomes nice and sweet. It's a whole food and it tastes great. All right, I think that is it. And just in case you're new to cold soaking, you know, if you have your cold soak jar, literally all you do, actually I'll make this. I'll have this for breakfast tomorrow. So literally all you would do is you would add your couple of tablespoons to it. Don't ask me how much. People always ask in the comments, how many tablespoons or how many cups? About that much. So you add it in there, you'd add your water in, shake it up, and you're done. I mean, that's all there is to it. So very easy. All right, if you have any questions about it, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, I will leave links to some of this stuff below. Again, there'll be Amazon links because they're easy for people to find, and a lot of people like ordering it, but I'm, not going to push Amazon, but it's just a good way to show you an example of what the different products are. And I will tell you that I might leave some links to the raisins from Amazon, but I have not ordered those from Amazon. The raisins I pick up locally. Something like Anthony's I have gotten on Amazon, but just to kind of, again, any of the links to the dried fruit that I'm showing that are on Amazon, I have never tried those before. I am not endorsing those, just as examples. All right, thank you very much.